Buddy, and welcome to Visual Communication, the Media. My name is Adam Rozeski. It's a pleasure to see each and every one of you. Happy New Year and welcome to the new term of 2025 for winter. It's a pleasure to meet each and every one of you. I hope everyone's having a great week, and let's get started. So I know you're probably looking at this, you're probably thinking a lot of times like, well, I'm either doing something in business or in nursing or something. I know how to visually communicate in a lot of ways. Why am I really looking into this in a lot of ways? Well, it's pretty important for visual communication because it's not just like visuals and images and design that we talk about, but also you have to think when you're writing a report, how is somebody reading these elements? How do things make it more legible and definitely simpler to read in a lot of ways? Say, for example, you're building a chart and you're trying to organize it and put all the different boxes and arrangements and different areas where you fill in the different information and diagnoses. That all matters because these are all visuals, right? And we have to make things simple to read. And I'm not even just talking about just like design. I'm talking about letters, words, symbols, icons. The more those are important, the more those speak out to the different cultures that we talk about, and understanding those from different people in different ways and different systems, it makes it easier for you to understand why those visuals are built and what's the need for it. So you, when you're writing your own papers or writing your own reports or your own documentation, you can create different symbols and different organizational structures to help make your reports easier to read. And that's what's pretty important right there. To go from here, the visual communication is used in all different elements, not just in design, but also in legibility and readability in a lot of ways too. And this can help you out in more ways than one. So I'd be happy to show you some tricks and go about this. But just a little bit of background about myself. I started all sorts of jobs. And then I ended up going, I tried to be a professional goaltender, then I tore my knee out back at Penn State, but then I got my associate's degree, worked in the airline industry for a little bit, became a supervisor and an HR manager, and then for Continental. And then I wanted to get into video games because I was a competitive gamer back in that time. Did a lot of Gran Turismo, Star Wars Battlefront 2. This was like on PlayStation 2, like old style. And then like early PC MMOs like World of Warcraft, EverQuest, Star Wars Galaxies. And then I played those games. Wanted to be a professional, but then I like games in general. I wanted to be a part of the industry and try to learn how to make them. So I ended up going to UCF, got my bachelor's in entertainment business, and my master's degrees at Full Sail for project management and game design. I worked at a whole bunch of games, started off at a small company called GP Games, and worked my way into Activision EA as a producer and analyst. Then I went further along into Universal and got my more people management skills structure over there as a supervisor and an attractions manager. Then I went back to video games for a while and was a producer and a senior producer and also a senior project manager and a director of development for a few VR companies and startup studios. And worked my way up there. And then now just pretty much a teacher. I just want to spend more time with my son for a while. And now I teach at a high school and college all around. So that's pretty much it. But I worked on actually it's about around more like 50 games and like 60 military projects kind of to find in there. So I've bounced around, done a lot of work in my history. So, but mostly in the technical field with design and management. That's where I have. So pretty cool. But for this announcement, I just want to tell you what type of assignments there are. We'll go over all the assignments in lecture. In lecture, I talk about everything. I talk about the entire lecture, the material, and then I actually go over your assignments during lecture, and I also go over your live lecture assignments and everything. I even give you examples on how to complete them. So it can really tell me if you're actually looking at the lectures once I see your assignments turn in, because I know I give direct examples and everything. So that way it helps you what you're looking for and what those elements kind of go through and how they make it easier for yourself. But there's two different types of assignments that we're going to focus on. There's discussions. Initial discussions are due by Tuesday. Reply posts on Saturday. Final day to turn in all assignments will be February 11th. Once it hits midnight at Central Time, your assignments turn in late. That's a big deal there. Also, same thing for your initial posts. Initial posts always due on the end of Tuesday night. Once it switches over to Wednesday, then it becomes late. Same thing with your reply posts on Saturday. The only difference is just for week 6, because week 6, the last day of class is Tuesday. So you got to make sure you have everything turned in by the end of the day, Tuesday that week. I believe that's February 11th. Yeah, that'll be February 11th. And then also written assignments. These are written assignments. They're either, so with my written assignments, I pitch a scenario for you to utilize who you are, and then you'll write your reports and your analytics or your analysis documents to me through that way in that scenario. So you can kind of get a feel of what you're looking for and different ways of your research, which would be awesome. These are all research papers. They're all in APA format except for a couple of the assignments, but I'll let you know which ones those will be during lecture. And that'll be good. And they shouldn't be too bad. There's no more than 3 pages for each assignment, except for the PowerPoint assignment. But if you have any questions about them, just let me know. I'll be happy to. I'm a pretty thorough grader, so I want to give you as much feedback as I can to help you improve and to make sure you're following directions and following assignment requirements, because that's when you get tasks. In the real world, you get requirements. You want to make sure you follow them to the T. That's a big thing right there. But those are my 2 major assignments, and then I also have my live lectures. My live lectures will always be on Tuesday each week. They will be always at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central, except for week 6. I usually have that on Sunday. I'm actually thinking about moving my lectures to Monday to help my wife out a little bit more. So I'll let you know if that happens. But the first lecture will definitely be on Tuesday for sure. And what happens, I know everybody has a busy schedule and everything going on. So what happens if I miss a lecture? Well, that's okay. I always post the recording that night or the morning after. So you have the lecture for the rest of the week to have, because I go over the assignments, I go over everything in that lecture, and I also show where to give examples and go from there. So it's probably important, and I use material off of the lecture to do your assignments. That's important. Then I also give a second announcement. That also has some other information that you'll need, so keep an eye on the announcements as well, because you might need some of that information to complete your assignments also. But that's pretty much. But I'll have recordings for everything and links for everything. They'll be posted on the announcements always. And also they'll be on Teams, and I'll show you where to access those files and where to go from them during first lecture. But I'll show you also how to record your lecture assignments, because there's one thing, it's in my syllabus, and there's one thing I really take strictly on, is my live lectures are tied to your attendance. So you need to make sure you complete these by Sunday of that week to make sure they're done, or the last day of the week. Make sure they're done, because if they don't, they automatically go as a 0, and that affects your attendance right off the bat. So just make sure you turn in your live lectures by Tuesday no matter what. Now, I get there's family emergencies and everything. You just communicate with me and let me know, and I'll let you submit the live lecture later. But those are pretty solid. There's no and they're pass-fail too. And I'll show you how to fill those in live lecture on the first week on Tuesday. But I want you to know that these are tied to your attendance, so you can't turn these in late. You got to make sure they're turned in no matter what by Sunday of each week, except for the last week, which should be Tuesday. So please make sure you turn them in, because if they're late, or if they're missing any information, or if they're not correct based upon how we talk about the lecture, they're going to be an automatic fail, just to give you a heads up, and an automatic 0. So because they're 5 points for each lecture, so it could get you from a B to an A, or a C to a B. But those 5-10 points, there's 6 of them, that's 30. So, but other than that, I don't really have much. I just want you to have fun. There's going to be a lot of things that we discuss. Lectures will be a little bit more free-flowing. It won't be just like reading off a PowerPoint. We'll actually be talking about these things. We'll have group discussions. We'll actually get to be engaged a little bit more. I'm also trying to find out and get some gaming ways to try and put in to the lectures, to see if anybody can go from there and try some things out. But lectures will be a little bit more interactive. Now, late assignments, they're going to be 5% of your grade each day late. Once they hit that 7th day, it automatically becomes a 0. I'm pretty lenient on late, but once it hits that 7-day mark, I mark it a 0 no matter what. So just make sure you turn in your assignments by, as reasonably as possible, and I'm going to be pretty good about it. But just make sure you try and get in. That way you don't have any late points. Now, also, I just want you to be courteous and respectful on your discussion posts. That's important. Also, be thorough on your discussions. I'm looking for at least 2 paragraphs per post. So you should have 4 paragraphs total, 4 to 5 sentences a piece. Don't give me 1 to 2 sentences and expect that to be a reply, or else that could be really tough. And I'm looking for detail in all those elements. That's important. And then just 2 rules. Just discover and have fun. I want you to even though it might not be like a design field you're going into or like entertainment or some type of artistic field, take something from my class and see how you can apply it to your work, and that's really what's going to matter. And find something and just have fun with it. It'll be really good. We'll have a lot of really good discussions. We'll take a look at some analysis and see why visuals are built in the way they are, and it works great. But other than that, it's a pleasure to meet each and every one of you. Happy New Year, and I can't wait to see y'all in lecture. Please take a look at my announcements. They'll have all the information you need. That's all I got, so be safe, have fun, enjoy. Thanks for being awesome. All right, bye-bye.